I'm Mr. Adams. I teach you stuff. Today, I'm going to teach you about the Classical Age civilizations. We begin with our thesis statement. The Classical Age civilizations developed many ideas, technologies, and philosophies that laid the foundations for the modern world. Let's look at the name of this period. Sometimes this period is referred to as the Iron Age, which is easy to explain. It tells us they made tools and weapons from iron. But why call this period the Classical Age? Well, what makes something a classic? Think about a classic car or classic movie. The first idea you might have is that it's old, which is part of it. But for something to be a classic, it has to be more than just old. Lots of movies and cars are old, but not a classic. When we think of classics, we think of things that are not just old, but also valuable, timeless. Classics don't follow trends, they set them. The Classical Age civilizations are responsible for many of the developments that had a lasting influence on the world. One of the things that will become clear as we study this unit is what a lasting impact these civilizations had on the world. At the end of this unit, you should be able to identify who the Classical Age civilizations were, give specific examples of ideas, technologies, and philosophies that each civilization is responsible for and how they influence the world. This period has also been called the Axial Age because it was a turning point and a time of great change in moral and religious philosophy. Buddhism developed in India, and while it didn't replace Hinduism in its native land, its ideas about the role of desire as a cause of suffering did spread and have great influence in Asia. Greek philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle left a body of work that is still studied and relevant. Roman religion was based on Greek traditions until they converted to and spread a new offshoot of Judaism called Christianity. In China, the Han Dynasty adopted Confucianism, with its emphasis on right relationships and familial duty as a basis for social and governmental stability. The first classical civilization we'll look at is Greece. Greece was not a unified political body, but many independent city-states known as polises. This shows one of our many linguistic debts to the Greeks, since polis is the root of the English words politics and police. The Greek city-states shared cultural traditions, language, and religion. But there was a tension between the two most powerful city-states of Sparta and Athens. Sparta was known for their military discipline and toughness. Spartan mothers would tell their sons to come home with their shields or on them, while Athens saw a flourishing of arts and philosophy and is credited with the political idea of democracy. Greece's golden age is a time between the Persian and Peloponnesian wars. The war with the Persians united the Greeks against a common enemy, while the Peloponnesian War between Sparta and Athens left them weakened and susceptible to invasion. The Greeks' love of geometry is evident in the writings of mathematician Pythagoras and applied in their architecture. The Greek temple, with its columns and triangular pediment, is a prime example of this. We can see this construction in one of the most famous Greek temples, the Parthenon. Greek culture was spread throughout the Mediterranean region by Alexander the Great. His Hellenistic empire ensured that Greek ideas were known far beyond their place of origin. While the Romans heavily borrowed from the Greeks, it would be unfair to label them as simply copycats. The Romans adapted, applied, and added to Greek knowledge. Romans expanded on Greek architecture, adding the arch and the dome to traditional Greek forms. Notice how the Roman Pantheon resembles the Greek Parthenon, but with the addition of a dome. Romans pioneered the use of concrete as a building material, which allows for monumental constructions that would have previously been impossible. The iconic Roman Colosseum is a forerunner to today's modern sports stadiums. The Roman road system was truly impressive and one of the factors that allowed them to rule such an extensive empire. The Romans created a comprehensive system of law that is still relevant and influential, And before the creation of the Roman Empire, they were ruled as a republic by an elected body known as the Senate. The massive extent of the Roman Empire ensured that they had a lasting impact on European history. The Roman language of Latin became the basis of Italian, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. The Roman Empire's conversion to Christianity helped to make it one of the dominant world religions. This explains why the Catholic Church is centered in Rome and not Jerusalem. While the achievements of Classical Age China may not directly influence our lives here or be immediately recognizable to us, they were foundational for the 1.4 billion people who live in the region today, which gives us a good reason to study and try to understand the lasting influence this time period had on Chinese culture. China had experienced a period of civil unrest known as the Warring States period. During this time of chaos, three political theories arose: legalism, Taoism, and Confucianism. Legalism teaches that people need strict rules and harsh punishment to keep them in line. Taoism is concerned with living in harmony with nature, and Confucianism teaches the importance of duty and living in right relationships. China was reunified under the Qin dynasty, who ruled according to the principles of legalism. The Qin lost the mandate of heaven after a short time and were replaced by the Han dynasty, who ruled according to Confucian ideas. The Han dynasty ruled for about 400 years and greatly influenced China. Chinese people still think of themselves as being ethnically Han. The Han developed a bureaucracy based on a civil service exam. Bureaucrats are the officials who handle the day-to-day running of the government, and in Han China, a test was given and those jobs were awarded to those who scored highest on the exam. These societies were not isolated from each other. They were linked in the Silk Road trade, a network of trade routes that allowed goods to travel between China and Rome. Chinese silk was highly valued in Rome. It's interesting to think of silk as a cutting-edge technology. Only the wealthy had access to the luxury goods from Silk Road trade, but ideas and disease had an impact on people of every social class. Trade was also part of a positive feedback loop, where strong, stable governments supported and made trade possible, and lucrative trade helped to support and stabilize strong governments. These are the basic ideas of this unit. We'll do a number of activities that add details and nuance to fill in the picture of how Classical Age civilizations impacted the world.